Hi, Maria here. Welcome to my channel. Today I want to share with you apple pie fragrances or fragrances that kind of fit that apple pie genre. So they're kind of sweet, cinnamony. They make you think apple pie, even if they don't have apple in them. So I'm going to talk about those. I can't wait. But before we get started, if you haven't subscribed, just go ahead and hit that button. Join the Weird and Wonderful family. It would be amazing to have you part of the community, and let's get into this. So I want to start with the one that kind of started the craze, in my opinion, and it is Angel's Share by Kilian. Now this fragrance has cognac, cinnamon, tonka, oak, hedione, vanilla, praline, sandalwood, and candied almond. So absolutely no apple in it. However, it totally smells appley to me. So as soon as I smelled it, I automatically thought there was apple in this one. So it gives you that apple pie. It's warm, it's decadent, it's a little bit boozy, super cozy, quite opulent, sexy, sophisticated. Now the problem with Angel's Share for me, lots of people love it. I find it too sweet. I have smelt the original. I have tried the original on. What I have currently is Dua's Angelic Elixir. And honestly, it's a beautiful fragrance. It smells like apple pie to me. So I get an appley vibe even though apple doesn't exist. And I enjoy this one fine. The issue that I have is I find it a bit screechy. This version and the original, I find it screechy. I find Dua fragrances. I know lots of you are Dua fans, and I enjoy some Duas, but with that sugary note that's in here, there's a sweet note in here. These are extrait de parfum, so they're super potent. I find that I get very overwhelmed by the amount of fragrance very quickly with these. So I do like wearing this one. I'll do like one squirt, but I just find that Angel's Share for me is a little too sweet. So what I prefer, I don't currently own it, but it's one I definitely want to get, and it is Kismet Angel. I think they changed it to Kismet Magic, but it's by Maison Alhambra. It has different notes from the Kilian's Angel's Share. It's got vanilla, amber, and honey in the head. In the heart, it has cognac, cinnamon, caramel, and tonka, and then the base is dark chocolate. Now, I find this one to be a little less sweet, but it still gives me that apple pie vibe. So really enjoy it. I just prefer it. I find it a little bit smoother feeling somehow. So my top pick from that cognac-y apple vibe that kind of started the apple pie craze seemingly would be Kismet Angel or Kismet Magic. I want to get that one. The Dua version has excellent longevity. I just find it a little overwhelming. Angel's Share, although beautiful, the bottle's beautiful, I just find it too sweet, so I wouldn't want a full bottle in my collection. Now, to me, one of the absolute best apple pie fragrances, I just think it's stellar, and you don't hear about it that much. It is La Danza del Lubalul by Nobile 1942. Now this is to me a true apple pie fragrance. In the head it has red apple and bergamot, the heart is cinnamon and cacao, and the base is vanilla, musk, and cedar. It kind of takes you on a journey. So for me, some of these fragrances, some of the apple pie fragrances just make me so excited because they really kind of develop as they dry down on the skin. So at first that apple is quite prominent. It almost feels as if it's fresh apples that you've just put the cinnamon and sugar on before you bake it in the oven. So you've got a little bit of that pie smell, but it smells a little bit raw. You've got the raw apples in there. And then as it sits on the skin and it starts to warm up, you start to get more of that cinnamon. The cacao and vanilla kind of comes across as that pie crust starting to warm up and bake. The apples get a little bit more baked feeling, and it totally smells to me like you've just baked an apple pie on your skin. Ooh! It's so good. So this is one that's on my wish list. I really enjoy it. It's sweet, but not too sweet. So it doesn't have a boozy sense at all, but I just really enjoy the way it warms up on the skin. It's very delectable, super gourmand. And I think because of the booze, so in Angel's Share, it's got all that booze. To me, it smells like there's apple. There's no apple. The booziness I find overwhelming in all of those fragrances, except for Kismet Angel. But in La Danza del Libellule, it's so just beautiful. The apple is just done to perfection. It's not too much. It's not too sweet. It's just the perfect amount of spicy, sugary deliciousness. It's absolutely gorgeous. Definitely worth sniffing. Now, in that same category as an apple, kind of apple pie that bakes on your skin, is Jani by Soradora. This is absolutely delicious. The notes in Jani are just like scrumptious. So you get baked apple, puff pastry, cinnamon, vanilla, caramel, almond, nutty notes, apricot, peach, white musk, plum, and osmanthus. So yeah, in the opening, I get kind of that little bit of a boozy apple vibe, but that is where it departs from Angel Share. As this warms up on the skin, you get a ton of that puffed pastry. So just imagine like an apple strudel just puffing out in the oven with little granules of sugar on it, getting golden as it cooks. Oh, I love this fragrance. This definitely satiates that apple pie vibe. I love it. I love it. It's warm, it's sweet, it's got just the right amount of cinnamon. It has the right amount of apple to the pastry. So delicious. So love this one. Longevity is pretty decent on it, like about 6 to 7 hours with decent projection. I enjoy wearing this one so much. When I want to smell like an apple pie, this is what I reach for. And it doesn't get too sweet or cloying. So for me, like I said, the Angel Share vibe is just a little too sweet. Another one that kind of has an apple pie vibe, even though it doesn't have apples and it has dates instead, is Camera. So it kind of fits that same genre, even though it's not technically apple. It's got that same sweet spice that I attribute to apple pie. So I want to mention it. I do have it, but I've put it away for my sister. It has cinnamon, nutmeg, and bergamot in the opening. Definitely get the cinnamon and the nutmeg. In the heart, it has dates, praline, tuberose, and mahognial. I get the dates and the praline. And the base, you have vanilla, tonka bean, amberwood, myrrh, benzoin, and akigala wood. I don't get a lot of akigala wood, so you're not getting that patchouli or that oud feel at all. You're just getting this sweet kind of baked, you could almost attribute it to something like a baklava. So a little bit of that kind of vibe. I find Camera to be a little too sweet for my taste. It reminds me of the Angel Share vibe, and so to me it just falls short because it's just too sweet for me. Again, I prefer Le Danza del Lubalul. I basically want to go every time that fragrance. That one or Jani, that gives me my true authentic, like totally authentic apple pie. Now, another one that I want to mention that kind of deviates a bit from the apple pie vibe, but still has that cooked apple feel, is Casablanca. Now, this has apples and grape in the heart, and I would say it feels a little bit more fresh apple, almost apple juice. But then it also has whitewoods, iris, and patchouli in the heart, and then the base has caramel, amber, suede, musk, and Peru balsam. So this is almost like a smoky cooked appley vibe. It's very sweet, very appley, almost apple juice feel with a hint of smoke. So I wanted to include it because it does give a person that warm apple fix, but it's not straight up apple pie, but it does smell very dessert-like with that hint of suede, which feels a little bit almost smoky. So I think it's an excellent kind of caramel apple that is delicious for fall. So many people love it. It's definitely not talked about that much anymore because it's been out for a while, but it's definitely a solid, delicious kind of gourmand apple fragrance. Two other fragrances to mention. The first one is Une Nuit Nomade, and it's sugared leather. Again, no apple, but as far as an apple pie vibe, this is right up there. So you get the sweet cinnamon sugar with a little hint of booze in this one. I prefer this. This is kind of ambery. It's got caramel, it's got cinnamon. It smells like brown sugar. There is leather in here. The leather is just kind of underneath it all to kind of give it a little bit more grounding. It smells a little bit ambery. This to me would be the fragrance that I would choose over something like an Angel Share. So it gives me that sweet, sugary, cinnamony, slightly boozy vibe, but it's not too sweet. So I find this one less sweet. It's also less boozy, but somehow this is something I can get behind. Whereas Angel Share, I just find it too much. So love this fragrance. I just think it's absolutely gorgeous. Lasts a long time on the skin. And it's also one that you can wear in the heat, even though it's kind of that cinnamony sugar vibe. It's something you can definitely wear in the heat. To me, another excellent kind of apple pie fragrance that I have to mention is by Juliana's Perfumes, and it's called Miss Independent with Rum Drizzled Apples. Is a mixture of apple brandy on the rocks and Princess by Kilian. In the head, it has lemon and bergamot. In the heart, it has green tea, brandy, rum, ginger, peach, hedione, jasmine, and apple, vanilla, and moss. And the base has marshmallow, ambroxan, vanilla, and benzoin. So this totally smells like kind of like an apple, a boozy apple crumble is the vibe I get. I do get that the tea, the marshmallow, the vanilla, the peach, all of that kind of adds to that apple brandy feel to give it kind of a spicy, delicious kind of apple crumble feel. I actually prefer this over just straight up apple brandy on the rocks because I really enjoy what the peach and the marshmallow and the vanilla from the Kilian Princess E-type vibe does to this. I love this as far as a layering combination. It's just awesome. So yeah, Miss Independent with rum drizzled apples. Delicious. Now, the last fragrance that I want to mention that has apple, this is the furthest departure from an apple pie, but I have to talk about it, is Navitus's Absolutio. This has cinnamon, saffron, and almond in the opening. The heart is apple and toffee, and the base is driftwood, ambergris, musk, caramel, oak moss, and dark chocolate. I wanted to mention it because it does have the apple, but to me, this smells a lot more spicy. It would give me kind of the vibe of something like a sticky toffee apple bread pudding, if that makes sense. Not that it's bready smelling, but this has some richness in it. It's got quite a lot of woodiness in it, actually. But with that toffee and the apple, there's a sticky kind of apple toffee vibe in here that's really delicious, but it's a departure from a straight up baked apple pie because of the woodiness and the spiciness of the sandalwood and things like driftwood. So really, really enjoy this one. It's rich, it's decadent, it's opulent. Some people find this to be masculine leaning. I just find it to be deep, dark, and sexy. But this would be definitely one that a guy could, honestly, guys could wear all of these. I can see Absolutio being a little bit masculine for some women that don't like masculine fragrances on themselves or masculine leaning. This one is straight up unisex, leaning a little bit masculine, I think because of the wood, but I just love it. And yeah, it gives me kind of a sticky apple toffee vibe that's just delicious. Love this one. And that is it. Those are my kind of apple, baked apple vibe type fragrances. There's likely more, so if you guys know of some fantastic apple pie fragrances, please leave them in the comments. For me, the ones that really are authentically more apple pie, La Danza del Lubulul and Janny. Those are the most apple pie authentic fragrances. The rest have apple or apple-esque, remind me of apples in some way, but kind of fit that same or scratch that same itch. So yes, please leave any ones that you can think of in the comments and also weigh in about these. And also all of them will be linked down below if you're interested. Other than that, I hope you have an amazing week and we'll talk to you soon.